challenge. Her project is the Storytelling Project, and her evaluator is Sean Sheehan. Can you give us her objectives?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Krista's objectives: first, her purpose is to become an engaging storyteller and give an awesome speech at 8 months pregnant. She's asked us, me particularly as her evaluator, to look out for whether she's taking up the space on the stage and watch for voice and fluctuations.
Thank you, Sean. Some information on Krista. She is a life coach, a hypnotherapist, an author, world traveler, and she likes to shock people with her crazy adventures. The title of her speech is Kiss of a Manatee. Kiss of a Manatee. Please help me welcome Krista Butler.
How much time, Krista? How much time?
7 minutes.
7.
So how often do you let the fears of other people unknowingly stop you from living your best life ever? Well, in my case, I'm getting ready to be a new mom next month, and I feel that I've let society inundate me with the overwhelming expectations of my new role. When I hear phrases like, "You better get your sleep now because you're not going to sleep for the next 18 years," and "Good thing you did your traveling now because it's impossible to travel with kids," and "Your life is going to change forever," I'm going to be honest, it scares the shit out of me. However, I decided to change this story and take my power back, and I've decided that becoming a new mom doesn't mean that I have to give up on all my wild and crazy adventures. So last month, I led my 3rd women's retreat in Florida, and my business partner and friend Monica told me about this sanctuary in Florida, 30 minutes north of Tampa, where all these wild manatees hang out in the winter to escape the cold Gulf waters. Now, I've pretty much grown up in Florida, and my parents have this beautiful beach home, so that way we can escape the cold Missouri winter months. And I've spent many hours on this dock desperately searching for one of the 6,500 manatees that apparently live in Florida that I've never seen yet. So I decided that I was going to go on this adventure despite being 6 months pregnant. And when I told my family and my boyfriend Kyle this, you should have seen the looks on their faces. How are you going to fit in a wetsuit? And is it really actually that safe to swim with wild animals when you're pregnant? And I was like, I don't know. Let's find out. So I called up the tour company and I nervously asked them, is it okay to swim with the manatees while expecting? And they actually said, yeah, it's fine. And not only that, but you're gonna be so popular in the water because animals love pregnant women and they can smell all of the pheromones. So I was like, let's do this, I'm in. I instantly booked the trip and I was so excited and got this huge adrenaline rush, like I was accomplishing the impossible. So the morning of, when Kyle and I were taking our little road trip up to Crystal River, I was nervously trying to anticipate what it was gonna be like to swim next to 1,300-pound creatures in their natural environment. And also being in 75-degree weather, or 75-degree water. Now, for some of you, that might not be that cold, but for me, anything less than hot tub temperature water is freezing. So, and then I started to have all these fears inside my head of like, what was I doing? Was I putting my unborn baby in danger? And what kind of mom was I already? And I decided I have to push those fears aside and just trust that this was all gonna work out. So we arrived at the tour center, and they made us watch a little video on manatee etiquette, and they helped us into our wetsuits.
Wow.
And I almost had a panic attack.
Yeah.
I'm very claustrophobic, and so this wetsuit was so tight on my neck and my body and trying to put my belly into there, and I was like, again, what did I get myself into? Why did I think this was a good idea? But then I calmed down and everything was okay. So us and 3 other couples got onto a little pontoon boat and we took off onto the river in search of these manatees. And again, I started to get nervous. What if we paid all this money and drove all this way and we don't see any of the manatees? They're not expected to show up for us just because we book a tour. But luckily we did find a good spot where about 20 to 30 of them were hanging out for the day. So we put on our snorkels and we gently entered down into the cold water, making sure to only swim with our arms so that way we didn't kick or disturb the manatees and kick up all the sand from the bottom, reducing the visibility. And oh my goodness, I laid my eyes on these beautiful sea cows in the water, and it was incredible. They were just as curious about us as we were curious about them, and especially the babies in particular. They were coming up to us and smelling us and kissing us and nibbling on our arms, and they were rolling over and they wanted us to pet and rub their bellies, and it was so amazing. And their skin was so rough, like an elephant. I thought it was going to be smooth like a dolphin, but it wasn't. And we weren't in any danger either. Manatees, they don't attack. They have no known predators other than a motorboat, and they don't have any teeth in the front either. They only eat seagrass. So it was perfectly safe, and it was an incredible experience. So after about an hour of swimming in the water, we climbed back into the boat and we drank some hot chocolate and coffee to warm up our shivering bodies, and we happily headed back home. I was so grateful that I let myself have this experience and that I didn't let the perceived story in my head that a pregnant woman couldn't do something so wild and crazy. Now, it's common to let other people's fears unknowingly prevent us from living our best life. So what stories are you still hanging on to that no longer fit you anymore?